I welcome you all to my fifth lecture on signals and systems, that is for electronics and communication engineering students and electronics and computer engineering students. Now I'm going to talk about basic system properties. Now first, systems with and without memory. A system is said to be memoryless if its output for each value of the independent variable at a given time is dependent on the input at that same time. Example: yn, which is output of system, is equal to bracket 2xn minus x square n bracket close whole square, marked as equation A1. The system specified by this relationship is memoryless, as the value of yn at any particular time n naught depends only on the value of xn at that time. Now next example is a resistor is a memoryless system with the input xt taken as current and with the voltage taken as the output yt. Now the input-output relationship for resistor is yt is equal to r xt, mark it as equation A2. This is well-known relation, and this is a memoryless system. An example of discrete time system with memory is an accumulator or summer. Now yn is equal to summation k running from minus infinity to n xk, mark it as equation B1. This is equation for accumulator. Now yn is output and xn is input to the accumulator, and yn is equal to summation k running from minus infinity to n xk. Now I am going to simplify this equation as yn is equal to xn plus summation k running from minus infinity to n minus 1 xk. This equation can be rewritten as yn is equal to yn minus 1 plus xn. Now this system remembers or stores the information. Now look at this. This yn is present output equal to yn minus 1 plus xn. Here yn minus 1 is past output plus xn. xn is present input. So the system will have to store past output. So this is a system with memory. A second example is a delay. Yn is equal to xn minus 1. Yn is output, xn is input, and yn is equal to xn minus 1 is xn minus 1 is a delayed signal, that is xn delayed xn by 1 unit. So this system will retain or store the preceding value of the input. So this is a system with memory. Now capacitor. A capacitor is an example of a continuous time system with memory. Since if the input is taken to be the current and the output is the voltage, then output voltage, this yt, is equal to 1 by c integration from minus infinity to t x tau d tau. Here x tau is current input, and this is equation B3, where capital C is the capacitance. So the voltage across capacitor is output, which is dependent upon the current input x tau. This is a well-known relation, and this is an example of a continuous time system with memory. The concept of memory in a system corresponds to the presence of a mechanism in the system that retains or stores information about input values at times other than the current time. So that stored information may be predicted value, predicted future value, or delayed value. Now, invertibility and inverse systems. A system is said to be invertible if distinct inputs lead to distinct outputs. An example of an invertible continuous time system is yt is equal to 2xt, mark it as C1, for which the inverse system is wt is equal to 1 by 2 yt, mark it as C2. Now, if you will substitute yt here, you will find that wt is equal to xt. So wt is equal to 1 by 2 yt is the inverse system. A general invertible system in discrete time domain is represented by this block diagram. Here input xn is fed to the system and the output of system is yn. Now this block in cascade is the inverse system. With input yn, the output is wn is equal to xn. So at the output of this cascade system, I have got xn, which was input. So this block serves as inverse system. Consider the invertible system defined in equation B1. I think that is accumulator. So this is accumulator. And the corresponding equation is yn is equal to yn minus 1 plus xn. Now yn is equal to summation k running from minus infinity to n xk is equal to yn minus 1 plus xn. In this case, the inverse system is wn is equal to yn minus 1. Mark it as equation C3. Now look at this equation. If I will take this yn here, then the equation will be yn minus 1 is equal to xn. So I have got the same signal. So wn will be equal to xn. So this, the inverse system is wn is equal to yn minus 1. Now here the block diagram representation. Xn is the input to the system and the output yn is equal to summation k running from minus infinity to n xk, that is accumulator. And this is inverse system like this in the cascade. Now wn is equal to yn minus 1. So wn is equal to xn. So this is the inverse system. Now the examples of non-invertible systems are, number 1, yn is equal to 0. Mark it as equation C4. This is the system that produces the 0 output sequence for any input sequence. This is non-invertible system. Second example is yt is equal to xkt. Here we cannot determine the sign of input from the knowledge of the output. So these are two examples for non-invertible systems. Once more I repeat, in the first system, output yn is equal to 0. This means whatsoever be the input, the output is 0. So the system that produces the 0 output sequence for any input sequence. Now I cannot get back the input from this. In the second system, yt is equal to xkt. So I cannot determine the sign of the input signal from the knowledge of the output signal. So this is non-invertible system. Now we talk of causality. A system is causal if the output at any time depends only on values of the input at the present time and in the past. Past means delayed signals. Such a system is often referred to as being non-anticipative, as the system output doesn't anticipate future values of input. So in the causal system, the input at the present time and in the past are considered. No future value of input is present. The system described by equations A1 to C2 are also causal, but the system defined by this equation D1, that is yn is equal to xn minus xn plus 1, and by equation D2, that is yt is equal to xt plus 1, are not causal, because yn plus xn plus 1 is advanced value of input. that is future value of input. And here xt plus 1 is future value of input. So equation D1 and D2, they both have considered future value of input. So these are not causal systems. All memoryless systems are causal. It is noteworthy that all memoryless systems are causal since the output responds only to the current value of input. Very important. Another example of a non-causal averaging system is given in equation D3, that is yn output is equal to 1 by 2m plus 1 summation k running from minus m to m xn minus k. So this is a non-causal system because it includes the present value of input, the past values of input, and the future values of input. What about the system defined by equation D4, that is yt, that is output is equal to xt input into cos t plus 1. So this is actually amplitude. This is input, this is output. This is causal or non-causal. This system is a causal and memoryless system because this is amplitude. It depends upon the present value of input. The output depends upon the present value of input. However, the system defined by yn is equal to x minus n is not causal because this x minus n is indicating future value of input. Yn output is equal to future value of input x minus n. The most important part of a system is, or most important feature of system is stability. A stable system is one in which small inputs lead to responses that do not diverge. A stable system is one in which small inputs lead to responses that do not diverge. So the example, yn output is equal to summation k running from minus infinity to n, uk. This is unit step function, marked as equation E1. That is, if input to the accumulator is a unit step un, then the output is yn, this. So the input to the accumulator is unit step. Once more, we will see what is happening in accumulator. This is equation for accumulator. So this is output, that is summation equal to summation k running from minus infinity to n xk. Now xk is uk, that is unit step function. Now equation E1 can be expressed as yn output is equal to n plus 1 un. So I will solve it. I can show that it is the yn is equal to bracket n plus 1 into un. Mark it as equation E2. As this sum can grow continually, even if xn is bounded, therefore this system is unstable. Now comment about the stability of the following two systems, S1 and S2. Now in this equation, xn is un, input. So this is accumulator circuit. The accumulator, the output of accumulator is yn, input is un. So un is bounded. Un is equal to xn is bounded. Then also the output is growing unbounded, growing continually. So this system is unstable. Now I will comment about the stability of the following two systems, S1 and S2. Now S1 is equal to, now S1 is the system 1, where yt output is equal to t x t, t into x bracket t, marked as equation E3. And this system S2 is with given equation yt is equal to e raised by xt, mark it as equation E4. This is stable system. Now look at this. Yt is equal to output yt is equal to t into xt. So as the value of t increases, yt output is going to increase continuously. So this will give us unstable system. S1 system is unstable because the bounded input results in unbounded output. Xt may be bounded. Xt input may be bounded, but it is multiplied by t. So as the t increases, yt will go on increasing. So this makes the system unstable. Now S2 system is stable because we would be unable to find a bounded input that results in unbounded output in case of system S2. We make no assumption about the input signal xt except that magnitude xt is less than b, or xt is lying in the range minus b to b for all t. Now yt must satisfy e raised to power minus b is less than magnitude yt, which is less than e raised to power b. Look at this, yt is equal to e raised to power xt. So xt is bounded in the range from minus b to b. So output magnitude yt is e raised to power minus b to e raised to power b. We conclude that if any input to S2, system S2 is bounded by an arbitrary positive number b, the corresponding output is guaranteed to be bounded by e raised to power b. Thus S2 is stable. Therefore, system S1 is unstable and S2 is stable. Now we will talk about the linearity. A linear system in continuous time or discrete time is a system that possesses the important property of superposition. If an input consists of the weighted sum of several signals, then the output is the superposition, that is the weighted sum of the responses of the system to each of these signals. This is very important. If an input consists of the weighted sum of several signals, then the output is the superposition, that is the weighted sum of responses of the system to each of these signals. Now, in detail, we will discuss. Let y1t be the response of a continuous time system to an input x1t. And y2, and let y2t be the output corresponding to the input x2t. Then the system is linear if, number one, the response to x1t plus x2t is y1t plus y2t. This is additive property. Second, the response to the input ax1t plus bx2t is a y1t plus b by y2t. Now this is scaling or homogeneity property. Now clearly in one, there is sum of two signals, input signals x1t and x2t. The output should be y1t plus y2t. And through the second, if the input is scaled, that is a x1t, a is constant, b is constant. So if the input is a x1t plus b x2t, then output should be a y1t plus b y2t. This is scaling or homogeneity property. Therefore, in continuous time, a x1t plus b x2t given to a system should yield a y1t plus b y2t at output. And in discrete time, if input to the system is a x1n plus b x2n, then the system should yield output a y1n plus b y2n. And then the system will be linear. If x subscript k n for k1 to 3 are a set of inputs to a discrete time system with corresponding outputs ykn for k1 to 3, then the response of system to a linear combination of these inputs given by xn is equal to summation k running k ak xkn, which is equal to a1 x1n plus a2 x2n plus so on, marked as the equation G3. That is composite input signal, that is xn is equal to a1 x1n plus a2 x2n so on is equal to summation k ak xkn, and the output is yn is equal to summation k ak ykn is equal to a1 y1n plus a2 y2n plus a3 y3n and so on, mark it as G4. Therefore, I repeat, if xkn for k is equal to 1, 2, 3 are a set of inputs to discrete time system with corresponding outputs ykn, then the response of system to a linear combination of these inputs given by xn, marked as equation G3, is yn, marked as equation G4. This very important fact is known as the superposition property, which holds for linear systems in both continuous and discrete time. Now let us apply the linearity check procedure to a system whose input xt and output yt are related by yt is equal to x square t, marked as equation G5. Now it is clear that when input to system S is x1t, then output is y1t is equal to x1 square t. And if input to the system S is x2t, then output y2t is equal to x2 square t. Similarly, when input is x3t to the system S, then output y3t is x3 square t. Now, if x3t is equal to a x1t plus b x2t, that is a linear combination of x1t and x2t, and a and b are constants, then y3t is equal to ax1t plus bx2t the whole square. So based on equation G8, I can reach at equation G9. So y3t is a square x1 square t plus b square x2 square t plus 2ab x1t into x2t, marked as equation G10. Now y3t is equal to a square. So from this equation G6 and G7, y3t is equal to a square y1t plus b square y2t plus 2ab x1t x2t, mark it as equation G11. Now you can very well imagine that it is not equal to a x1 square t plus b x square x2 square t, or it is not equal to a y1t plus b y2t. So that is why this system is not linear. This system is not linear. We conclude that this system is not linear. A direct consequence of the superposition property is that for a linear system, for the linear systems, an input which is zero for all times results in an output which is zero for all times. It is very, very important property. A direct consequence of superposition property is that for linear systems, an input which is zero for all times results in an output which is zero for all time. Now consider a system yn is equal to 2xn plus 3, marked as equation G12. This system is not linear as can be verified in several ways. Now first, if xn is equal to 0, that is input is 0, then yn is equal to 3. we observe that the system violates the zero in, zero output property of linear system. So I can directly say that system is not linear. Now, further, x1 is when fed to system S. The output is y1n is equal to 2x1n plus 3. And when x2n is fed to system, the output is y2n is equal to 2x2n plus 3. Now y3n is if the composite signal, that is sum of x1n and x2n, is given, then y3n is equal to 2x1n plus x2n plus 3 as shown. 2 bracket x1n plus x2n bracket close plus 3. So when I will open the bracket, it will be 2x1n plus 2x2n plus 3 as shown. And this is not equal to y1n plus y2n. So y3n, this is not equal to y1n plus y2n. So this system is once more proved to be non-linear. But if I will subtract the output y1n minus y2n, I will get 2 bracket x1n minus x2n. Such system corresponds to a class of incrementally linear systems. This is a special category of systems. So such systems correspond to the class, such system corresponds to the class of incrementally linear systems. But this system is non-linear or not linear. So that's all for today's lecture. These are some reference books. The main book is Signal and System by A.V. Oppenheim and A.S. Wilsky and S.H. Nawab, and you can refer to other books also. Thanks for attending this session on Signal and System. See you in next lecture. Have a nice day.